What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 6, Episode 15, and it's called Chapter 111, Blue Collar.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending of the podcast. We're going to go through our recap roundups, your recap roundups, best moments, best lines, MVPs. There were a lot of LVPs this week, let me tell you. So be sure to stick around for that.
As always, to and continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let us get into the episode, y'all. So, what did you think of the ad?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it. Like, it wasn't their best of the season. Like, whoa, I'm blown away.
Right.
But we did get to see a lot more development, which I was very happy with. I think the ending leaves us off with a crazy sort of like sprinkle question mark.
Totally.
So I wasn't mad at it. Like, I was okay with the episode. What did you think?
I wasn't mad at it either. I feel like it was exactly that. I felt like it was kind of like last episode. And I think we even said it during when we were watching the promo. It felt like a kind of continuation of what was happening last episode. It's just getting deeper and deeper. Percival's kind of like digging deeper and deeper and trying to fuck everybody up. So like it was a lot of setup is what I should say. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens after this. All right, so let's start it off. The first part of the episode starts with Jughead narrating that there's been this war, but now they're putting down like these railroad tracks and things are going to start changing. And it's Percival talking to his crew. And it turns out that he's basically screwing them over. He's paying them less. Yeah. He's deducting their rental fees from their pay, like the equipment that he's renting. He's like deducting that from their pay. So like they're basically making nothing. Ever. Yeah, worst boss ever.
Nothing.
And at the same time, I'm also like, y'all better feel real guilty for not freaking wanting to do that thing for
Archie.
Yeah. Exactly. I was like, you should have learned your lesson for next time. So then it cuts to Archie, Cheryl, and Tabitha at the new Pops, and they're talking about Percival and how he's taking advantage of the workers and like breaking their spirits and making sure that they're not unionizing. And Archie asks Cheryl, because he knows that the Blossoms and the Pickens had some like history with each other, if she can like look into her records and see if there's any dirt on his family that he can use. And Cheryl's like, okay, fine. I have a friend. She keeps saying like, I have a friend that's actually helping me with a library and
like, my friend is here and like keeping me company.
Yeah. So my friend is there, and that's what she's gonna do. She's like, okay, cool. Cuts to Agent Drake talking to Veronica about her powers. Like Betty brings her into the office.
I was actually quite surprised to see this scene.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess they're just like gonna bring in all like her with the superpowers. Okay, cool, fine. So Drake apparently knew of Hiram, and he apparently had like some sort of secret absinthe business. Is that what the case was? Like, yeah,
because she was like, I was on the Jingle Jangle case back in season 2. So she's like, I definitely came across your daddy's folder. Right. And yeah, like he was making absinthe at one point or something. Like this kind of like confused me a little bit.
I was like, okay, sure, fine, but because I was trying to wonder why. Like
why?
The only reason why I wrote it down is because I had to go back after it shows up later in the episode. And then Drake says that Veronica's body is actually extremely healthy, even though there's a lot of toxin in it. Her body basically like distills all the toxins, and like there's like a.
So Betty asked Drake to like scan Veronica's body.
Right, I guess so. I guess that was the situation. And then at that point in time, Betty gets a call from her mom, and she has to like rush home. Right. What did you think about this scene? You were like, it was weird because
it was just caught me off guard because I was like, why are these two stories like intersecting?
Yeah.
And then I think even Veronica's like, oh my God, I should like start an absinthe business and like leave I was like, wait, are you even doing that anymore? I thought you were like the Wolf of Wall Street / like the casino operator. Like I thought you left that.
Yeah, she's just like
like
got her
why?
hands in too many freaking pots.
Unless. And I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was like, unless this absinthe thing is going to be the thing that like can kill Percival as well. Ooh. Like unless that connects to the main storyline, I feel like this is very random and like very unnecessary.
Yeah. I think there is a connection. We can talk about it a little bit later, but I kind of understand why they went that way, but it was random in the beginning. I was like, why are we talking about this?
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Betty rushing home, and she was like, "Where is he?" She goes upstairs. She's got her gun. She's like ready to like shoot somebody. She pops the door open, and it's Charles laying in bed, and he's like
in her
dying.
bed, and he's like
Like,
sickly.
yeah, he's like, "D.I.
She's like, "Did you like? Why don't you use Polly's room?
Yeah, like use someone
Why are
else.
you using Betty's room?"
They're like, the art directors are like, "We are not building a new set. Like, we can't.
We
do
cannot
it.
build Polly's room one more time.
Yeah.
She
We've
has
never
been
done
dead.
it. It hurts too much." So then it cuts to Moose talking to Kevin, and he asks like, "Why
Moose
are you moving in with
the
Percival?"
big questions this episode.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
tell you, Moose came in heavy with the big hard questions.
I know, and I
loved it.
I loved it too, for sure.
Yeah.
And he asks him if he's pursuing if he's pursuing this custody battle, and Kevin's like, "I have to do it. I just got to."
But why though?
I exactly, like, why do you got to do it?
Like, so why though?
Like, Moose talks to him about it later, and I'm like, that is exactly the tea. Like, he is basically like reading Kevin like all the way down home. But anyway, so then Moose is like, "Okay, cool, sounds good, whatever."
Yeah. He doesn't really like, he asks it, and then like when Kevin replies, he's like, "Oh, okay." Like you can tell he's like taking in like Kevin's answers.
Yeah.
And still trying to like understand like why is this even happening? Like,
right. Exactly, and that's exactly that. For a character that has been like gone for so long, he's just asking all the questions to get a little bit of context, and really like make him think maybe twice about what the fuck he's doing with the
because he's like,
situation.
later on, I think he says that he's like, "Why are you like, these are your friends?" Like,
Yeah.
So it's true. Like when Moose left the show, like they were all friends, like they were all together. It's like, what the hell happened in this time where like I left?
Exactly.
And you know, you're literally trying to steal their baby. Like what?
Like, what's wrong? What's going on here? So anyway, then it cuts to Alice talking to Betty about Charles and that he's dying. He's got like leukemia or something's wrong with him, that he's basically dying. The jail didn't have enough hospital beds for him, so they moved him to homes to spend more time with the family in his last like dying days, basically. Then it cuts to Tabitha and Archie going to visit people at the construction site, and they decide to like put a little Pop's diner, like a mini like pop-up shop beside the construction site, so they can just give them
this
like
idea
25-cent coffee, get them like excited, like, you know,
because I think Tabby was like, he's not even giving them coffee, like they don't even have like refreshments at work. She's like, "Let's take our pop-up truck and like go there." I was like, this is such a cute idea. Like I love this.
It was really cute.
So much sense.
And then obviously Frank, who is like the angriest man of all time. He
got worse.
Why is he just getting so like more and more angry?
He's acting like an angry 16-year-old boy. Like,
yeah. He's like, "I don't like this." Like, and I know, like, we talk about
adult
this
in this situation
every single time we talk about the fact that, why are these people doing this? Are they that like brainwashed? Like, is it them? I'm like, if you're that aggressively angry, and it's the same thing with Kevin, like that is you. To me, that is you. Like you are just being like, you're acting on your own behavior. So I don't know. I don't like Frank anymore. He's even as hot as he is, like just
like he's acting like an idiot, like complete. Like I really thought last week was the turning point for at least Frank. If it's not going to be Alice, at least him, to be like, let me still stay in like Percival's like area, but like I will keep an eye on whatever. No, he's like, if not, he's like worse than when he was before.
And there's no reason for him, because like if we're talking about Alice as well, like even Alice, at least she's like talking to Betty throughout this episode, so you're like, okay, she's like kind of human. Like you can have these conversations. She has compassion. She's still there to a degree. She might not like Betty right now, but like she's at least like being cordial, and so is Betty. But like every single time Frank sees like Archie, he looks like he's about to punch him in the face.
Like he's like disgusted by him. I'm
bro,
like,
calm down. Like, why do you hate him so much? And Archie has to just be like, okay, that's my uncle who fucking hates me for no reason. So anyway, they're handing out coffee, and they also tell them that there's like this open mic that's happening after work to talk about like unions and figuring out your working conditions, because like right now it's like not the tea.
Like bad.
So then it cuts to Percival, and he's in Reggie's mind, and he like, it's kind of set up the same way that we've seen all of the like minds where
Mm-hmm.
there's comic books on the side. He gets to the one of the comic books, he opens it up, and it actually has been ripped out.
Yeah.
So then he tells Reggie, he's like, yeah, actually, you're right. Jughead, did tamper with your brain. And Reggie's like, yeah, that's so
Like you're
fucked
missing a
up.
memory or like a scene or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, I
I
can't
love the
really
way they
figure it
they
out.
visualize this whole thing, like
Yeah.
of him going into their memory or their brain and like accessing like these moments. Like the way they show it is really cool.
Yeah, it was a cool way to like show it and set it up that way. But anyway, he goes there, can't find it. Then he tells Reggie about it. And then Reggie asks him, he's like, well, when are you going to teach me magic? And Percival's like, okay, let me show you magic. He pulls out this briefcase and he shows him like a dummy. And he's like, what is this dummy? And he's like, it's a totem that will help you to like throw your voice. So essentially at the next like mind reading show with Veronica, he wants
like
to
a ventriloquist.
yeah, it's like a ventriloquist dummy. He wants to distract Jughead, or Reggie's going to distract Jughead with him throwing his voice.
Why couldn't Reggie just distract him like with Reggie's voice?
With his voice? I know. I was like, what was the point of this whole thing? It was so
like,
random.
couldn't he just like heckle him himself? Like, I don't get it.
But I guess they were confused because like at one point they show Reggie and his mouth is
he's
moving,
not
and
moving.
his like
yeah,
his voice is like somewhere else. So maybe they're looking in the crowd seeing Reggie, but he's not talking.
yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. It was very confusing. I was like, why did you even have to add that extra element?
I thought Percival was gonna put Reggie in the thing,
into the dummy,
and like lock him up in there or something.
Oh,
but then I'm like,
damn.
then what would he be of use?
What would he have done?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. But it's true. He could have just been like, Reggie, you're just gonna go there and start yelling in the crowd.
Yeah, like just be a heckler.
Yeah, exactly. Be a heckler. So anyway, he it's so dumb because like Reggie's like, cool magic. Like I just imagine his character being so stupid to be like, oh, you did teach me magic
Yeah,
by doing
I'm a
this thing that
magician.
I could have done by myself anyway. But
Yeah.
thank you for the ventriloquist dummy. So he's like, that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna go into his mind while he's being distracted by you. Anyway, cuts to Archie talking to Fangs and the rest of the workers at the new pop setup. And Fangs basically like says everything. He's like, we're being overworked, we're being underpaid now. And Archie says, like, you guys can unionize. Like, that is what is possible. Like, you should try. And they're like, Percival's never gonna go for it. And he's like, you should just ask. Obviously, it's not gonna happen. Then it cuts to Veronica talking to Agent Drake about selling Absinthe. So to your point about her saying like, I have this rum business, but after you talked about Absinthe, I got really interested. So she wants to get in on the business. But then when she was talking to Drake about it, she was like, oh, like maybe I can make it so like the wormwood, which is like the essential ingredient of Absinthe, maybe I can like make it a little bit less toxic, but like still like potent enough for people to like
get like lit,
feel the effects and get lit. And Drake's like, ooh, that's like not in the like business market right now. Like you should definitely do that.
She's like, can I have a stake in that? I was like, where is this going? Like this is so inappropriate. Like,
so this is the part that I got very confused by. So to your point, I was like, why is she even talking about the Absinthe business with Agent Drake?
Like Agent Drake is so desperado to like get in on like the core four. Like,
yeah,
I feel like she's like wants to be a part of like the show.
She's like, I'm cool too. I have money. I can invest in you. I can hang out with you guys. Whatever you guys want to do. Like, I'll be here. Like,
yeah, and then she's like acting like she knows like all these like weird things. She's like, your body's like a funnel for like a thing, and we're like, yeah, we already know that. Like,
yeah,
we've
been
knowing that.
Thank you for that. But okay. So anyway, it cuts to Charles talking to Betty, and she asks about like Chick, and he's like, yeah, we didn't get married. We kind of got like split up like once we went back to Shawshank. But he says that he's a survivor, so we are to assume that Chick is still alive and well, and he's probably likely gonna come back at some point. Yeah, he's surviving.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought when I read that. When he said that, I was like, okay, so we're expected to see Chick at some point. Okay.
He just didn't sound like they were like in love, like they were acting like they were before. Like he was like, oh, I don't know. He like went somewhere and like he's like there. I was like, if you guys are like in love, like why isn't he with you right now? Like,
but I guess he can't. He's in jail.
Aren't they like lovers?
Oh,
he's in jail.
Yeah,
so
he's
Chick
in jail.
is in jail.
But they're like separated in jail,
okay.
so like he hasn't seen.
I thought like he got out or something.
No. He's like still in jail for murder.
Right.
For literal murder.
As if you go to jail for murder.
Yeah.
In Riverdale.
That's true. So she asks him about death and if he's afraid of dying, and he's like, I've made my peace, but like, And he says something about like maybe this is just punishment for like
Yeah.
all the bad shit that I've been doing in my
Yeah.
life. And she's like, fair point. Then it cuts to Heather and Cheryl. They're going through like the Blossom and Percival back and forth letters. And apparently the Pickens stole an ancient text from the Blossoms. And Heather says like, maybe we can steal it back. Like maybe we can look for it. And she's like, at the same time, we can try some magic with you and I can teach you how to be invisible.
Right.
To try to get it back. And I was like, sick, magic.
What did you think
I'm
of
always
all
into
of
magic.
this?
I thought it was cool. Obviously her trying to get this book means more to Heather than it means to Cheryl.
Okay.
But what did you think of the situation?
Yeah,
Do you have
that's all I was
questions?
gonna ask you of like, was there a second motive for Heather? Like, yeah?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
like it does make it seem like she stumbled on it, but like
Mm,
maybe she
she
saw it
found,
and then
yeah.
she was like, "Ooh, that text has been missing for like maybe Heather knows more. She obviously knows more about this text than Cheryl does. So like maybe it's this like hidden text that like every witch is looking for. Maybe like all the covens
Yeah,
are looking for this
yeah.
specific
And
book. Like
maybe
who
it's like the
knows?
thing that's gonna kill Percival. So like at the same time, like I don't hate it because it's like if you
Yeah.
need it, like take it. But but like I didn't like how she like used Cheryl. Like she kind of like manipulated her and she was like, I'll teach you magic. Like if
Yes.
you help me. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm
There's
down
a
for
little
that. But I'm like,
yeah.
whoa, like that's a little like, you know,
Yeah, a little sketchy.
control-y.
There's a little bit of that going on for
Yeah.
sure. So like
Yeah.
I wonder how it's all gonna kind of play out at the
Yeah.
end.
But I'm
But
into it. Like I do love their
yeah,
dynamic and it's very interesting and very
yeah.
like fresh,
Because at
different
the end of the day,
storylines
like
for
Cheryl
sure.
is also learning how to like go invisible. So like I'm kind of into like
Yeah.
her
No,
teaching her
totally.
like real shit too. She's not
Yeah.
just giving her like a fucking ventriloquist dummy and being like, "Hey, you can throw your
Exactly.
voice." Like,
Exactly.
so at least she's doing something. So at the end of that scene, Veronica shows up and asks for a book on how to distill absinthe and to see if she has any wormwood in her like ancient garden,
Hmm.
apothecary garden or whatever.
Cheryl's
And
like,
Cheryl's like,
bitch, I'm so
I'm
busy right now with my
busy.
other friend.
She's like, I
What the
have
F are you
other
doing
people.
here?
Yeah.
And Veronica's like, I
Um,
just need a book. She's like,
and she's
oh,
like, okay, fine. I'll get you the book. So then it cuts to Percival and he sits down to talk to Archie at the new pops and he's like, hey, you're bugging my employees. And he actually ends up offering Archie a job. And Archie's like, are you fucking
I
nuts?
love this
I
moment.
literally want to punch you in the face
He's
every
like,
single time I see you. So
do
no.
you really think at this point I would ever accept this job with you and like
Your
you can
face.
actually bribe me? Because
Yeah.
if that's the case, you really don't know me.
You don't know
Bitch.
anything about me. So get in my face. Yeah, I was kind of surprised though, because I'm like, why does Percival think that after all this time Archie's gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh my god, you're so right. Thank you
I'll
so much
join
for
your
offering me a job.
thing.
Who would no, there's no
Yeah.
one. No one would ever do that. So anyway, he says no. Cuts to Tony and Fangs talking to their lawyer about their criminal records. Like they
Mm-hmm.
have criminal records, they've been arrested, but they kind of defend like, oh, but it was like when we were younger. It doesn't look it, but she's like, it's still on your record, so it kind of just looks
Mm-hmm.
bad for you. And she asks if they're gonna consider like leaving the serpents, like what are they doing with the serpents? And still Tony and Fangs are still kind of like both on either side
He's
of it.
literally
Like
like, I was born a serpent
he's like,
and I
we're
will
never
die a
gonna
serpent. I
yeah.
was like, maybe this is not the time to
Maybe
like
like
say the
chill
motto.
on all that shit. So and then Tony's like, we're kind of trying to think of like doing a rebrand with the serpents. And the lawyer says, like, whatever you're planning to do, like it needs to happen quickly. So like it's either out or like changed. Like you need to
Yeah.
do
Like get your shit
something.
together.
Yeah. Or you're gonna lose this baby. So after she leaves, Fangs and her talk about like the proposal that she had last episode, like, oh, like are we gonna get married?
So I
And
was a little
he's
taken aback because I was like, wow, he didn't say yes
right away.
like
Yeah.
right away. Like you're literally
Yeah.
gonna keep her like wondering.
And I think it has to do with the fact that like maybe he just doesn't really like, trust her decision on the serpents, because essentially he says like, I'm still on the fence because like the serpents are a family, so like why would you want to just create a family just for us? Like he doesn't understand her
I understand that,
motivations.
but like you still need to make your own family.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Fangs is just being stupid this whole
Yeah.
entire time, so like I
I
didn't
just
really
hated
understand
how
it
like he
either.
left Tony hanging. I was like, that's so disrespectful. Like,
I mean, it's a big decision to make, but at the same time it's like,
but
what are they at this point? Who
Yeah,
knows?
then just say like we can't be married.
We can't be married or whatever, but we'll see. Anyway, they figure it out by the end of the episode. So anyway, cuts to Veronica and Jughead at the show. And of course, as planned, Reggie starts to heckle. It's like not him talking, it's like puppet or whatever. And Percival's also in the theater. One of the things that I don't really understand why it's not the case is like, why are people not barring like Percival from entering
the
these
exact
places?
same thing when I was watching the scene. I was like, why is he still allowed in your goddamn casino?
Exactly.
Like, don't let him in. Like, clearly he's evil. Clearly he's against you all. You're still letting him into your casino. I don't get it.
And even forget freaking Percival. What about Reggie? Didn't you say he's never allowed to come back into your casino? And like, he's sitting at your fucking tables? Like, girl, get your fucking security
that to me
guards
didn't
out.
make any sense. If they showed like a scene where like there was security and he slips in or something, then I'd be like, oh my god, like he played
he's making his way in.
It's like,
I didn't get, like, it's very inconsistent. So anyway, as he's doing that, Percival gets into Jughead's mind while he's being distracted, and the door to his mind is locked. It's not the same setup as like the desk sitting there. His is like a locked door that he can't get into. So Percival afterwards says it was harder than like usual to get into his brain. He's talking to Reggie, and he's like, I need some sort of totem, something that like really means a lot to Jughead in order to do this, like in order to get into his brain. And Reggie says, he tells him about the beanie. He says, I know he had this beanie in high school. He wore it every single freaking day. And I know where they hid it. They hid it in like a little capsule, and I know where that is. Like, I can get that for you. And Percival's like, perfect. That's exactly what I'll use. But also get me like a few extra things, because I need a disguise to get into
like, I need to dress up as Jughead, basically.
I need to be Jughead. Yeah, exactly. To get in. So he's like, okay, cool. Cuts to Archie talking to the workers, and they're all just like, he's like getting them all excited. He's talking about like, it's not just about you and unionizing you guys. It's about like your future, your children, and like what that represents for your kids, like the freedom of choice and what blah, blah, blah. Like, he just like riles them all up. It's like the big moment. And everybody's like, good point, true.
But this is the thing with these moments, right? Like, there's been so many of these like amazing moments, these like revolution moments, and I'm like, oh my god, and then nothing happens, or like they get conned again. So that emotional attachment that I used to have to these scenes and these speeches, I love them, but now no, I'm like, it's probably not going to even go anywhere. Like, it's pointless.
Or it's just a lot of the same thing. Like, every single scene Archie was in was either with Percival or he was like talking to the workers again. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, can we just get to the point right now? Anyway, so they're getting more and more toward like wanting to unionize or quit or whatever. Like, they don't want to leave their jobs because they just can't afford it. But anyways, then it cuts to Charles and Betty talking about their childhood and like how like it was different for them. And he talks about back in the day, like one of his big moments was like catching a possum and killing it. And he's like, yeah, it was like killing it like you did with Caramel, your cat. And Betty's like, those are completely different situations. She's like, I'm trying to heal myself. Like, we're talking about you right now. And he does say, like, he does wish that, like, there was a possibility of, like, going back in time and not hurt it, so that, like, shadow person that was inside of him, like, never got unlocked.
It was a very interesting conversation. Like, I did appreciate this conversation a lot, because it's also, like, teaching her at the same time, like, how she could have, you know, maneuvered her childhood or like her future or whatever it is. Like, and
it is a question of like serial killers, is there like a turning point? Like, is there a specific moment in their childhood that happens that like they have a choice and they make the dark choice and like then they follow
like he's like, I wish I just kept it dormant. Like, I wish I never even like opened that,
because like, look at me now, like I'm done.
But that's the idea of like the instinctual like feelings. Like, he couldn't have kept it dormant. He is literally a serial killer. Like, that's what he needed to do to survive.
Exactly. So maybe it's a little different for him, but like, who knows?
Like, she's not a serial killer. Like,
she's different. She got the MOAOA, but it's different. So then it cuts to the construction site, And Kevin's like out here flaunting the baby to all of his
Dude, I have
coworkers.
never hated Kevin
Cut me out.
more
Yeah.
than in this disgusting moment. Like,
He's so
his
lame.
character took such a disgusting and evil turn.
Yeah.
Like, how are you sitting there flaunting it?
Yeah. Right
Like,
in
it's
front of
one thing to be
right
like,
in
I
front of
want this
Fangs.
kid, like, I deserve to be a parent, like, I do love him, I'm gonna keep him safe. It's another thing to sit there and be like, I'm the dad, like, he
looks just like me.
like,
Yeah.
bitch, what?
Yeah, like so disrespectful. Fangs literally looks at him. He's like, he's not your son. And he basically is about to like beat his ass. And as much as I get upset later, because all Fangs ends up doing is like fucking beating people up and getting people in trouble, I'm also just like, fair point.
But
Like
this
Kevin
is
is being such a
deserving of
piece of
that. Like,
shit. Yeah.
he's such a piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
he's gotten us to that level where like we're literally like, let's resort to violence. Like, because he's so
Yeah.
disgusting. Like,
His level
Kevin
of
to me is
insecurity
dead. Like,
is
I do
like,
not care if
yeah.
Kevin dies this season. Like, I
Yeah.
will be happy because
This,
there's
yeah, for
nothing
sure.
redeeming about his character
Yeah.
as a person, as a man, like as a whatever, a dad, like
Yeah.
nothing. You are a
I feel like
disgusting
he's just
person.
a
He
waste of
can't even afford to go live in his own fucking house. He literally admitted to Moose, he's like, Percival's paying for my like suite. Like, you're such a little loser.
Get out of here. Yeah, I'm over his character. I mean, y'all know how I feel about this motherfucker.
It just keeps getting worse, and that's what
Yeah.
shocks me every time. Like, we already hate him.
Yeah.
And it's like you get more and more pathetic.
They add like even worse shit to him. I'm like, how is this even possible?
Like the Percival, him being like, he's paying for my suite. I'm like, wow, you're a loser. Wow. You couldn't live in your dad's house with your dad? Like, you don't even have a mom. Like,
yeah, get out of here. And what, you work 2 jobs. You work as a sheriff and a teacher, and that can't afford to pay for fucking your own place at some fucking
or just live
house
with your dad. Like, what's the big deal? Like, he has a nice house. Like, just stay with him. Like, it's not like
I can't imagine that Riverdale has like the craziest rent. It's like the shittiest town in all of America. So like, why can't you afford it? You fucking loser. So anyway, cuts to Heather and Cheryl.
How heated I get when you talk about it.
You're like, I gotta take
water.
A drink. So then it cuts to Heather and Cheryl at the curiosity shop, and she says like, you need to hold your breath while you're in there as you're like saying a spell in your mind, and then like he won't be able to see you. Yeah, you'll go invisible. So really cool scene. Heather opens the door, and because Heather isn't known by Percival, that we know, she kind of walks in and is like,
he's like, hello, ma'am. Who are you?
He's like, hello, how are you?
Never
and she's
seen
like,
you before.
I'm looking for something for my friend, and she needs something. And so at that point in time, Heather's holding or Cheryl's holding her breath, and she walks by him, like she kind of like waves, and like he can't see her.
Yeah.
And then she goes into the back,
yeah,
finds this book. As it's happening though, like she drops a book by accident.
Yeah.
There's a quick tense moment where Cheryl's has to like hold her breath and stay still, and he's like right in front of her. Yeah, she's like, ugh! But then she's already holding the book. She like actually got the book.
So when he goes into that thing to look for that book, he doesn't find it, or he just doesn't realize what she took.
I don't think he realizes what she took.
Okay.
He sees just like the one book that she drops, and then like puts it back on the shelf, and then walks back out. So yeah, so she gets this book. She's like, sickening. Like, let's go. Then it cuts to Veronica reading on like Wormwood.
Hold on, sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
That could mean like 2 things. That could mean like nothing, like it's whatever. Or that could mean that like if this book was truly important to Percival and like he truly like coveted that book, and it had significance, wouldn't he have known that that was the one that was missing?
I guess he didn't like.
So maybe Heather's lying. Maybe he doesn't even know that that book existed.
It does all feel very easy, right? So like when you think about whether or not Heather can be someone who's working for Percival, this is all still very possible.
So now that we've seen this episode, I don't think she's working for Percival, but I do think she might be working for her own motives, like her own, maybe her coven or like whatever it is. So I feel like she has her motives, and whether those motives will eventually line up with like the good side, maybe they will, like maybe she'll want to help them. I just feel like she has her own motives, and like maybe that whole story was like a lie of like this book wasn't even like he didn't even know that the book existed. Maybe I don't know, just something to think about, because like he didn't even notice that it was gone. If it was so important, like he would have been like, "Oh, that one's missing."
Go like straight to the book, and see if it's there or whatever. But I don't know, or maybe it wasn't put on display. Like maybe she like took it and he didn't even think, because there's so many books in the book, right?
That's it could
so like maybe he just didn't notice it. But to your point, there could be something there where like we find a reveal where like it backtracks, and like Heather and Percival are like winking the whole time because like they know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I buy him and her working together. Like I don't buy it as much anymore. Like last week I know we kind of mentioned that, but I feel like she has her own like strategy.
Something's happening on her side too. I mean, something is happening for sure. I just don't know like, what it all means. So anyway, it cuts to Veronica. She's reading about wormwood, and she has some wormwood. So she's trying to see if she can like hold on to this wormwood and extract. She's like, "Oh yeah, absinthe."
Where did the story go though?
I don't fucking know. She's holding on to these like little weeds, and she's like trying to see if she can extract the poison
like, let me suck
from
it out of the plants.
Yeah. So I think there is it all makes sense later why she's like trying to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Betty talking to Archie about, you know, her memories and how like this bad energy basically manifests into your body, like all the bad things that
and then
do,
makes you sick.
And it makes you sick.
Yeah.
So they're kind of they have a really quick conversation. It's like probably the only time we see like BARCHIE together.
I did really appreciate this scene because I feel like a lot of the things that we did complain about throughout the series was we don't get a lot of these like middle scenes, these little tiny scenes moments, where you know the characters sort of connect their storylines together, or they have a moment to be like, hey, can I just call you for a second? Like, I need to ask if you're okay. We were really asking for those kind of moments, and this is such a short scene, and that's okay. But it made me feel so much better because I was like, oh my god, like she's like telling him like what she just found out, and like he cares to listen, and it just makes the relationship, it's a short scene, but it adds so much value to who they are and like their relationship, and I did appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good. And then of course, as she's talking to him, she looks through his window, which is like her window, right through, and she sees like Alice like go like this, like with like a fucking
slow
pillow,
motion.
Like,
she's
like she's like about to walk in. I'm like, she's not changing that pillow, like she's about to do something real bad. So Betty runs upstairs, and sure enough, Alice is literally like trying to fucking suffocate him to death.
Yeah.
And she like pulls her back and like throws her downstairs. She's like, what the fuck are you doing, Mom? I was just like, what the fuck is going on with Alice Cooper?
I know.
She has lost her goddamn mind. Like, what is wrong with her? Anyway, we get to that conversation a little bit later, but cuts to Tony yelling at Fangs, reaming him out about the fight. She finally, because we talk about how like patient she is, like how good of a person she is to like have the patience for fucking Fangs, who's an idiot. And she's like, why would you get into a fight? We're literally going to court like tomorrow. Like, we fucking moron.
She yelled at him so hard. Yeah. I was like, yes, good job.
Because then Fangs is like, I'm not gonna just stand there and like watch him like say that stuff about my baby. Like, no way. And she's like, get your ego out of this shit. I feel like it's his hair. Stop being
I will say his acting was a little bit better this week. I will say that. And I feel like it's his hair that like bothers me because he's like, I wasn't gonna like say that. Like I can barely see his face, and he's all like emo. He's like, and I'm like, just get the hair out of your face.
Yeah, just like whip it out and like let's just keep the scene going. Yeah, he's like taking his hair too seriously.
Oh my god, they kill me though. Like I love their scenes, but like I'm also kind of like ready for that thing to like be concluded. Like let's get to the end of it.
Like let's not deal with the fact that like Kevin
she yells at him like a mom. Like it's like he's like her kid. Like
I mean. He acts like a fucking child.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, then it cuts to Betty yelling at Alice. We get another yelling scene like back to back.
This 4-minute sequence, I had to turn my thing down because I was like, oh my god, it got so loud. Screaming. Everyone was screaming.
So Betty's yelling at Alice like, what the F is wrong with you? Stop trying to kill your son. And she gets upset with her. She's like, what's wrong with you?
I need to relieve him from his suffering.
Yeah, all that stuff is basically what Alice is trying to say. She's like, it was kind of a part of our plan. Like he was gonna come here and I was gonna kill him.
Like that was the easy way out.
What's wrong like with that problem? There's a problem with that.
Which is fine, but like why don't you just kill him when he first got there? Like why did you take so long to
And also Alice literally told Betty 2 scenes ago, like oh yeah, He's coming home so we can spend more time with him, not fucking putting a pillow over his face while he's at home. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, nothing
And
makes
Betty
sense.
makes the best line. She's like, there has been literally enough murder in this
Yeah,
house. Like, can
yeah.
you not kill your son in this household?
It's
Thank
enough.
you.
Like, we've
Like,
killed
we're
enough
done.
people in this house. Do we need to make like a TikTok video and show how many
Yeah,
deaths
like
been
how
in
many
here?
fucking
Like,
murders have
jeez.
happened? Jesus Christ. I'm like, are you gonna put him into your baseboards? Like, fuck, Alice,
Yeah.
you've done enough. Like, we don't need
I don't know.
you
Alice is
killing
like a
people
whole
right now.
nother issue. I got an issue
She
with
needs
that
an
one.
exorcism, is what she needs. Like, what
She
is wrong with her?
needs
She needs mental help for
she
sure.
needs FPs, you know what?
D, yeah,
To
that'll
bring her back to life.
exercise her
Bring
right
me
out.
back.
Oh, I miss FP. I wish he was in the show still.
He literally needs to come back.
He would not stand for any
Exactly.
of this nonsense. He would not. He'd be like, "Shut up, girl.
Like, go right upstairs
Snap out of
right
it
now."
I'm gonna take care of you." So anyway, then it cuts to Heather and Cheryl, and she shows her the book. She's like, "Ooh, look at this book!" And that's the book that had the demon faces on the promo that we saw last week. Like, it actually looks like pretty legit. And I was like, okay, so this book is obviously of significance, but Cheryl doesn't seem interested in it
So
at
Cheryl's
all.
okay. So I was watching this scene. I'm like watching Cheryl's like whole face to see like what she's gonna do. And Cheryl's like, "We got the book." She's like, "Look." And Heather's like,
yeah. She's like, wow.
She was like obsessed. She was like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, like there's something.
But here's the thing that kind of annoyed me. I was like, you are here with your girl that you haven't seen in years, whatever. You steal this book together. You'd think that Cheryl would just be like, let's keep going with this magic stuff. It was kind of fun for me to be invisible.
I thought she said that, no? Did she not say that?
She did, but at the same time, she was like, let's just move on and like focus back on the letters again. So like it was weird that Cheryl didn't want to pursue this
did
like
Heather
adventure.
say that, or did Cheryl say that?
Cheryl said it first because Heather wanted to open the book and be like, oh, look at this book. This book is so cool. But Cheryl's like, actually, this has nothing to do with Archie. So like maybe we should just get back to the letters.
I thought Heather said it, so I was like, damn, she's trying to like distract her with that thing.
But what Heather does do is she does give her like a stack of letters that might help her after. She's like, okay, then like maybe read these letters. You go
take care of that.
Like,
and she's like looking at the book again.
Exactly.
Like,
She's like obsessed. So it's hard because I feel like Cheryl, who still wants to just hang out with Heather, she doesn't even care about this library. She doesn't give a fuck about Archie. So like, why doesn't she just want to do whatever Heather's doing? Like, if I had a crush on someone, I'd be like, oh, you want to just look through this book that we just helped steal together?
It shows
like,
you like who Cheryl is. Like ultimately, like she does still want to help her friends out. You know,
yeah,
like,
that's true. Cheryl for the win.
Cheryl for the win.
I was like, why are you being such a good friend?
Yeah, you're like, go get
give a shit.
Like
you literally wanted to kill them all last season. Yeah. So like, what's going on here? So then it cuts to Percival, and he gets his beanie, and he puts on, the serpent jacket, and it literally looks like when there's like a 45-year-old like
dressing up as Cole
child
Sprouse.
clothes. Yeah, like it's too much to deal with. I was like I can't.
You're at Comic-Con and like someone's dressed up as like
someone's
Jones.
Dad is dressed up as Jughead Jones, and you're just like, oh no, this is not it. Sis.
Yeah,
he puts on the fucking beanie. He's like walking around. I'm
like, I thought it was gonna like cloak him so that he looked so that it was Cole.
So it looked like him, like
you know what I mean? Like,
actor.
so it was like Cole, but it was like Percival still, but it was like Percival still, like the actor.
It was still Percival, like walking around with these fucking clothes on. And actually, I don't know if it happens at this point in time, but he has everything that he needs to jump into his head. Then it cuts to Moose talking to Kevin over dinner, whether he knows who is baby Anthony's father genetically.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin says they didn't want to know, so because he's like, we didn't want any of the parent, like either parent, to think less as a father.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, we didn't want to know like whose baby it was. And Moose kind of says like, maybe this is why you're so hell-bent on custody, because you don't even really know if you're the actual father.
Yeah.
And getting like custody from him would like deny that whole like
he hit some trigger points there. Like
absolutely. One of the things that I have a question about though too is, which we haven't had a chance to talk about, is episodes ago, Percival made out with Kevin. Like they kissed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why isn't that a thing? Or was
Do you
it
think
like
it is, but they're not like saying it yet, like fully?
a
Like
pu-
between that and like him paying for his apartment, now I'm wondering if like
like is
he's
it
the
that his
sugar
pimp
daddy.
daddy? Like is that his sugar
Yeah.
daddy? But then why is Moose even entertaining this experience
Maybe
with
Moose doesn't
Kevin?
know.
Or Kevin or Moose like likes him that much? Like, why do you even like Kevin enough to hang out with him this
That's what I
much?
was.
Is my
I
real
honest by the
question.
end, I was like, "Why are you still here?" And I
Yeah.
wish. Well, we could talk about it later too. Like at that last scene with Tony, I
Yeah.
wish at the end of that, when Moose was still in the room, he was like, "I'm done." Like I wish he
Yeah.
kind
This
of
is
left
fucked
too,
up.
because like he saw everything that happened, and
Yeah.
he just stood there. He didn't really say anything.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. I was kind of
yeah,
just yeah, anyway, yeah, we can definitely talk about that a little
yeah.
bit later. Um
But yeah, shout out to Moose for like literally serving the real tea to Kevin's face, because
yeah,
truly no one else has said this to Kevin
nobody
other than
else.
obviously, Tony, which
Right.
she's the mom.
Right.
No one else has called him out. Like Betty hasn't called him out, like
Yeah.
Archie, no
I mean,
one.
no one's
So
talking to fucking Kevin right now.
yeah,
That's the
that's true.
problem.
But they could have had a scene where like they're like, bro, what are you doing? Like that these are
Yeah.
all our friends. Like, can you chill the F out? So for Moose to
No.
come in and do that, like it was very necessary. I loved it.
Yeah.
Like,
It
yeah.
made sense why Moose was there for this, and like I'm
Yeah.
glad that he played like an act. He's not just like sitting there being like, "I just want to spend time with you, Kevin."
Yeah.
He's actually asking him all the questions that he needs to ask him.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Percival calling Archie. He tells him how one of his workers lost his foot during the day,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, it's because all my employees seem to be very
They're
distracted by this
distracted by
talk
you.
about union talk and stuff." And he basically threatens that more accidents can likely happen if you don't like leave my
So he's
employees
threatening
alone.
him because
Yeah.
he probably did it. He probably broke the
Oh,
guy's foot.
100%. You probably like did some spell and like broke his
Yeah.
guy. I was like, what are you guys doing? Anyway, whatever. So Archie's now feeling a little bit more pressure to do something quickly. Then it cuts to Betty and Alice talking
Sorry,
over
real
dinner.
quick. Something that we glossed over in the beginning and something that I really appreciated. Tabitha says, I think it was Tabitha. She goes, "Of course he hates unions because the reason and the purpose behind a union is coming together, people like fighting the good fight, like in
Right.
numbers.
Yeah.
So like the definition of that alone is everything that Percival is against."
Yeah,
And I
because
was
he's a
like, oh my
tyrant.
god,
Like
yeah,
Archie
like
says, like he's a tyrant. He
I'm
just
like,
wants
oh
to
my god,
control
that's so
everybody.
true. Like I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it like that, like
Yeah,
that whole union storyline. And I was like, yeah, like it's everything he's trying to get rid of. So of course he
exactly.
hates that idea.
He hates the idea of
Yeah.
unions. Um, why people still think that Percival can run a town like is beyond me. Like at this point, I'm just like, you're getting rid of the workers. He's on very small. Like I feel like if you were a civilian at this point, you would not think that Percival's doing good
Mm-hmm.
for the town. But
Mm-hmm.
apparently, there's still people backing him. So whatever. Then it cuts to Betty and Alice are talking over dinner, and Betty thinks that there's something more that maybe they can do for Charles. Alice is like, he's gonna die, so like I don't know what you're thinking. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
don't worry, let me figure this out. Then it cuts to Cheryl, and she gives a letter that she found to Archie about Percival's ancestor, like Percival's great grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
which was written right before this minor strike that happened back in the day.
Right.
And he's like, okay, cool, thanks. And Cheryl's like, bye. Then it cuts to back to Veronica and Jughead doing their show. And Reggie calls Percival while he's blindfolded and he's like focused on somebody else and he's distracted. He puts on the fucking beanie, looks
Yeah.
like a
It's
12-year
like, let's
old.
go.
He's like, let's do this. He gets into his mind, and this time he's able to actually open the door and he
So why
wedges
was
it
he able
open.
to open the door? Because he looked like Jughead?
I think so. Yeah. I
Oh my
literally think
god.
like
So his brain was like, oh hey Jughead, come on in. Like
yeah.
what?
I think that's literally what his brain did. He was like, cool, you can come in. You're wearing a fucking beanie. Sure. So he like
What the
opens the
fuck?
door and he like gets in and
You
he
need better security, Jughead.
yeah, I'm like fuck. Jughead needs a lot of things. So then he wedges the door open and like kind of keeps it open. He can't
So
so now it can't be closed.
oh.
Yeah, and that's all he really does.
Oh
I thought he was gonna
shit.
go into his mind
Yeah, that's
and
what I
like
thought.
burn
Like
it
scramble things
down
up.
or scramble things up or do something. And maybe he still could. Like I think he still has access to his mind because now he can get back into it. But I think at this point in time, I was like, oh, he's gonna do something really shady. Instead, he just like wedges the door open.
So what I thought he was gonna do, and this probably would have made 100 times more sense, when he said, I need something of Jughead's,
Yeah.
I thought he was going to steal Tabby or like take Tabby somehow and like clone her or like go into her and be her, like be her to go there, to go into his brain. Because like his brain would let Tabitha in, but like why would his brain let himself in?
I mean, I guess like if your own brain is like looking
that's
for
what I
your
was just
own
thinking.
Memories, you're like, he's gonna just clone Tabitha. Like that sounds like a lot of work.
I know, but like that's what I mean. I'm like, it should be a lot of work to get into someone's like brain and like memories.
It also would
just
be
wearing
hilarious
a fucking beanie
to see him wearing like the waitress dress. Be like,
no, like it would be her. Obviously, it'd be like it would be like Erin Westbrook. But like,
yeah,
still, I just thought it was another way of like he's gonna take Tabitha. And then Jughead, whatever. Like it's just more like dire circumstances, but nothing. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it does not happen.
Yeah.
So as this whole thing happens, the door is now open. He's now not able to focus in on this person. Yeah. Like he's hearing everybody's thoughts at the exact same time, and he has to leave the show. Like
which I thought was already happening to him in the beginning when he first got his powers. Wasn't he hearing like everyone?
I guess, but I think as time has gone on, he's been able to like hone in on.
Yeah, so why can't he hone in now?
Because the door is now wedged open. Like I guess like it's just like opened up his mind.
Yeah, he needs to go in his brain.
Snapped on him. So later on, Veronica checks in on him, and he's like, "I feel like my head's about to explode. I can hear everybody's thought," and she just says, "You should just take the night off and just like hang out and rest." Home.
First of all,
she leaves. I'm like, Veronica,
I don't understand why they were still doing this stupid ass magic trick.
Honestly.
Because, let me say, what is the reasoning for it? So that she can make money so that her casino doesn't shut down? Who the fuck cares? Like, Jughead, you should protect your powers and be like, no, I need to save my strength so that when this guy comes for us, I'm ready. Right. Instead of saying, no, every night, let's just go do a magic show at your casino and let all these loser people that we're going against in and let them watch our show. Like, it makes no sense.
They're just putting themselves into too much danger for no reason. For what? For a buck?
Like, why do they have to act so stupid to like push the story along? Like,
I know.
Jughead should have just said, I need to keep it on lock.
Yeah, I'm not doing this to like
or like I'll do it once for you, like let's make money, but then like that's it, like, and then I need to like stop doing this.
The fact that he did it twice or like multiple times, I was like, wow, you guys are that desperate for fucking money. Just trying to run an Absinthe. And what is wrong with the casino? Maybe stop like hosting shows there and like run your actual casino.
Right.
They made it seem like the casino was like now in shambles and it's no one's ever gonna walk in there again. Anyway, cuts to Tony talking to Britta. Britta's back for like literally 5 fucking seconds. I don't know why she just like shows up, but anyway, she's babysitting baby Anthony. And Britta's like, yeah, I'm just kind of like looking for his pacifier. And Tony's like, oh, it'll turn up. And then Britta says like, yeah, it was so cute. Kevin came by to visit, and Tony got kind of upset. She was like, why? Kevin came by. And then she kind of puts it together that the pacifier went missing after Kevin left. So she thinks that he stole it. And she's like, motherfucker.
Yeah, she went off.
She got pissed. So then it cuts to Jughead, and he goes to the diner. He's like about to talk to Tabitha, but he starts hearing everybody there. So he decides to leave. He gets like really overwhelmed, and he just leaves there. Then it cuts to Veronica and Betty with Agent Drake and Charles, and they're all in her room. And what they want to do is try to absorb the toxins that are killing him into Veronica's body, who's just going to distill it anyway, and she'll be fine. Like she can, but now that she has this ability to like absorb and detoxify, he's like, he can be cured essentially. And Betty's like, do you want to try this? And Charles suddenly is like, I don't want to die. I'll do anything it takes. Like, he's just like, I'm cool. Sure. It sounds good. Like, whatever you can. Even if it's like a sliver of a chance. Like, let's do it. So then it cuts to Tony. We get Tony fucking busting this door down. Dude. I don't know what the fuck she was like.
She drank some Red Bull or something. And she like. Yeah.
She busted that fucking door down. I actually wrote down, do you think that like Tony has like super mom powers? Like, and not even joking, you're laughing, but like everybody out here having superpowers for no fucking reason.
No, I think she has power? Like, I think she was pissed.
She was so pissed, like she broke down a fucking door.
And she has like, she knows how to fight, right? Because like she's been in the serpent, so like she knows what, she's also like how to throw a punch,
right?
And let me tell you, she
wailed.
Punch.
She punched this guy.
And then the second one, was there a third one or only two?
I think maybe two. I think she was like up in his face. But like
she cut his face, like there was blood. I was like, yeah.
I was like, do it.
Oh my god, it was such a.
It was intense.
I
need
to make like a GIF.
It was so funny because at one point in time, she like comes in, punches him right away, and Moose is like, hey, and she's like, sit the fuck down. She was like, don't you fucking move. You stay the fuck out of this, boy, or I'm gonna beat your ass next.
No, she was like in another zone. Like I've never seen her like that. Vanessa Morgan is so good. Like
it was so good. And she asked for the pacifier back.
Yeah,
she's like, give me my fucking pacifier back. And he lied about it right away. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what we were.
He's like, I don't have a pacifier.
And then
she's like, really?
Yeah.
He's like, it's there in the bag. Like a little.
It's there in the bag. So
he's so annoying.
And it was kind of nice because I think at one point in time, once she leaves, Moose kind of like has you have a shot of Moose being like, boy,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, did he do that?
Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And like, this is the point where, like, to your point, I feel like Moose could have like stood up and been like, Kevin, you got some things that you need to do.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm out. Like,
yeah,
I don't like you that much.
Or like, just disappointed more in him to be like, what's going on with you, Kevin?
Yeah,
and like
saying
leaves.
something like that.
He just didn't say anything. He's like, do you want to
touch? So like Moose, Moose is good in the beginning, but like by this point, I was just like, what?
Just say something.
Moose? Yeah, say something. Where do your loyalties lie? Why do they lie so closely? Like, what did Kevin do for you that you literally are like obsessed with him at this point?
Maybe he know how to do that.
Maybe he got some magic sticks.
Clearly, because Moose can't stop. No, I mean, I do think that Moose is disappointed. I just wish like we just got a bit more of that so that we as the audience knew, okay, that's where Moose stands with everything, you know?
Exactly. So then Jughead shows him again. He's like still losing it. I think he's in his apartment at this point, and he's like just pacing. You can hear everything. So we get these random frantic moments of Jughead just like losing.
He's so dramatic. I feel like
I know. Like, yeah. So then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Tabitha and Archie are talking to the workers again, but this time he's like, I can't make your mind up for you. You know, you have your decisions and reasons why you want to be a part of this. Like, we still work for him. But let me read out this letter from Percival's great-grandfather from this miners' strike that happened like way back in the day. And apparently the Pickens guy that back then was like talking so much smack about the workers, calling them basically like useless. They're like less than the donkeys that like carry the palladium. Like some really, really bad shit he was saying about the workers, to the point where the rest of the workers were like, he said that in that letter. And then like Fangs like loses his mind or whatever, and then Archie's like, yeah, that's just how he feels about you guys too. But I was like, how would that letter have been enough of evidence to show you when it's not even his words, it's the Pickens words? And he said like Percival said at the very beginning,
it's kind of falling apart a little bit. Like, it's not enough.
I didn't feel like it was
collateral.
Enough of a reason. Yeah, exactly. It would have been like if it was signed by Percival, like if you found an order that like him talking shit about other people.
Yeah.
Why does this ancient letter, Percival literally has said to the rest of the group before, like at the council, like, I am not my parents, I'm not my ancestors, like this is something different. So why would you just like believed him at that point? Anyway. Then it cuts to, so Archie's like, you can decide what you want to do next, right? Then it cuts to Heather and Cheryl talking, and she tells her that she actually didn't really want to put a library together. Like, it was all a ruse. And she really just wanted to spend more time with Heather.
Right.
And Heather's like, oh, that's so cute that you lied this whole time to me. Because I just want to.
It's such a compliment. I love it, girl.
We do not get a kiss from Heather and Tone.
Which is totally fine. Totally cool.
You were fine with that?
The slow way. Yeah, I think so. Yeah? I think it's just, I think we're still getting to the point where like, they're realizing, or maybe even Cheryl's realizing, like her other feelings for Cheryl,
like how romantic
for Heather. Yeah,
like how romantic.
Yeah, so I'm okay with things like taking their time too.
All right.
Like,
And also, they probably
Yeah.
didn't want like death threats going to Heather at this point in time from Shoni fans, because we all know how you feel about fucking
Heather.
Heather at this point. Jesus. So then it cuts to Fangs, and he comes home from this, like, I guess, meeting, and Tony is icing her hand because she, like, obviously just beat up fucking Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
And she decides that she's now going to lean into the Serpents and who they are as a community, and like it's a part of their history. We can't show weakness. She's like, if we decide to like dissolve the Serpents now, we're gonna look weak.
Yeah.
So she's like,
Yeah.
we need to show that we're strong and we're not gonna waver, and we're just gonna be the Serpents. So she goes on to say that she wants to induct the baby Anthony into the Serpents like right now, and Fangs can choose his name. And I was like, are you allowed to do that if you're, I guess you are. If you're a serpent, you can just like induct them. I thought he was a
I
part of the
guess.
Serpents
I don't
anyway,
know.
like already. Like,
Yeah.
anyway. He gets this serpent name, and then at that point in time, Fangs gets so excited, he's like, I agree to marry you, Tony. So they're gonna get married. Like
That was like the least
that's gonna
romantic
happen.
proposal in the universe.
See, that's the thing. I was like, the music, the way that they're trying to set it up, I feel like they're still trying to make us really like them together.
I don't though.
And I don't know if I like them together.
No,
Like, it
at
just
all.
doesn't
I don't
feel,
like him.
it
There's
doesn't feel
nothing.
like there's any connection
No.
there at all.
Like even him saying like, yeah, now I accept, like, okay, cool.
I was
Like
like,
2 days
now
later
you
you
accept?
accepted it. Like
After
no,
all this
F off.
time, yeah. So anyway, then it cuts to Kevin talking to Percival about the pacifier. He's like, sorry, bro, I couldn't get the pacifier. It turns out that like it looks like Percival had encouraged Kevin to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And Moose again is like sitting in the corner of the suite, like, I don't know, just like watching this whole situation. And Percival is like, don't worry about the pacifier, but you're not even the father of baby Anthony. I was like, oh. That's a gag. That is the gag.
And Kevin's like, what?
He's like, how do you know that?
He's like, that's not your kid.
She's like,
it's Fangs' kid.
Yeah.
He's like, I know everything, basically. And he's like, I
am your father now. Yeah. And he says he knows things, and that baby Anthony apparently is like the spirit of Riverdale. Yeah. He represents the future of Riverdale. But then he says he is also the future of Riverdale. So this baby, he sounds like he's threatening the baby, but like,
yeah, a little bit.
But then Kevin's just sitting there being like, okay, cool, thanks. Like, does he care? What's like, where's Kevin's head at after this scene was my question. Because not that I usually give a shit about Kevin.
Yeah, not that
But at this point in time, after hearing that you were no longer the father, and basically there is no room for baby Anthony to be the future, as well as Percival, what is like, where is his head at? Does he care? Does he want to now protect Anthony? Does he want to drop the case? Like, what the fuck is he doing now? Because this, I feel like, is his turning point. If he doesn't make a big change right now, I'm done. I'm fucking done with his character. Anyway.
Jay, like, you've been done.
I mean, I've been done. Yeah. Nothing's going to change my feelings no matter what he does, realistically. But I was interested to see, like, is Kevin going to finally do something other than just sit there like a fucking idiot? And even Moose is like, bro, like, I told you, like, all of this is like affecting like your mind because you're a fucking loser. Then it cuts to Charles with Betty, and he's like all better now. Like, he's feeling really good. She's like, I'm glad to hear. He thanks her for helping him. And then she confesses that right away she thought about asking like Veronica from the very beginning, like as soon as she found out that he was sick, but she wasn't really sure if she wanted to help him like at all. But ultimately she decided to do it because of her mom, who is basically a basket case at this point, and like she needs the most help that she can get. And she's like, I hope to catch the TBK. Like, that's what I want to do next. Like, that's my future plan. I'm trying to be a better person. Like, she has a really good conversation about the fact that she really wants to be like the best version of herself right now. I did a lot of this for me. And then Charles actually, thankful, because I was like, why are they bringing Charles back? Like, this is so, like, so pointless.
Yeah.
But he does say at this point that he has an idea on how he could probably trap the TBK. So I was like, okay, so like he has some use outside of just like dying.
But like,
home,
what happens now that he's like better? He has to go back to jail because
he has to go
like,
back to jail.
yeah,
But at least like she can get this
he's given
plan
her
from him.
advice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So then it cuts to Archie showing up at the tracks, and Frank, Percival, Kevin, and Moose are there. So first I thought it was gonna be Reggie, because like usually that's like
Yeah.
his person, but Reggie wasn't even there. It was Moose. And Archie's like, sorry, bro, but like your whole crew is on strike right now. And Percival warns him that there's something coming, and you will see like real fighting soon. Like you thought this was a fight, like the real fighting is gonna start soon. So I was like, okay, Riverdale writers, like we get it. Things are gonna get more escalated, more elevated. Like what was it?
Elevated, bitch. I'm ready.
Elevated 7
Let me
episodes
elevate.
ago. Let's go.
Like, let's go.
But I was gonna ask you, because we keep talking about Moose. Is Moose now just gonna be a part of this situation? Like, what? Why is he there?
I don't like that.
There's no reason for him to be here at this point in
No.
time, standing beside Percival and Kevin after what he's already like seen, and like, why is he getting involved? Like, come on, Moose. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to be a part
Agreed.
of this. So then it cuts to Betty and Veronica talking over Absinthe,
Sipping
sipping it, and they're
J-Lo
catching up.
knows what Absinthe is about.
It is that tea is the best. I had some in New Orleans like way back when with
Oh my
with
God.
Envy. It was the best. Then so they're just catching up, and it was cute because we were asking for these moments, like with Betty and Veronica just hanging
like
out.
the only thing missing from that scene was like a cigar. Like if they were like smoking a cigar,
just
like that would have been
chilling,
sick.
a little bit more happy. They're always like sad,
and just like
talking
catching up.
bullshit. Yeah. And Betty actually asks if she can book the casino for an event that's coming up.
Yeah.
And she wants to run like a convention. And she was like, oh, cool. So like Comic-Con?
Yeah, Veronica's like Comic-Con? And she's like,
she's
no,
like-
like serial killer con.
She's like, yes, serial killer con. Which is actually interesting of a concept because like considering how people are obsessed with serial killers
Yeah,
now,
no,
the documentaries and stuff, it's not a terrible
makes
idea.
sense. No, I know.
It's
But
not
like,
a
is
bad
that
idea.
is that the idea that Charles gave her? Like,
Yeah.
trap him, have a convention.
Yeah, like get him to
Cool.
be like invite him to be like one of the
I'm
like
down.
keynote speakers at a
I'm
serial
down.
killer convention.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So then it cuts to Tabitha coming home, and Jughead isn't there. There's actually
like
just
he's
a letter.
so dramatic that he
So
couldn't even
dramatic.
text her or call her.
Yeah.
He had to leave her a friggin' pigeon note on the table.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He couldn't be like, love you,
text
bye.
her.
Yeah.
Like,
So he leaves this letter, explains that he's losing control of his powers, and he wants to stay somewhere safe and quiet until he can get a hold of them again. He doesn't explain that he's in the bunker, but we as the audience see him in the bunker. So as he's in the bunker, it's
like somewhere
great for
quiet.
for like 5 seconds, it's quiet, and we're like, okay, sweet, so smart. He went to the bunker and it's real quiet. But then he starts to hear sounds, and there's sounds and clips from Riverdale. I don't know if you noticed that, and I'm sure the fans are gonna comment on this too. But
it's like when he starts looking at the like where
the
that
tunnel.
like the tunnel thing is,
yeah,
and he starts like hearing the things of Riverdale.
Riverdale.
And
Yeah,
I'm like, oh
I was like,
my God.
fuck.
And
then the final shot. So like the show is now over, no more scenes. But as they show like the Riverdale like logo at the
Flickering
very
logo.
end, the D turns into a V, and then we get that screaming sound of the person being like, "Arr!" So yeah,
it
so
was
I
a
guess,
sick ending. I was like, oh
yeah,
my God.
I was into it. Riverdale is, I guess,
it's
making its
sort
return.
of finally coming
back
to
around.
it's hopefully coming to a head where we're gonna see them both collide or something.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Very, very.
I'm excited for that,
interesting.
though.
Very interesting.
Very excited.
Let us get into our recap roundups.
Recap.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. So my best moment was definitely yours, but I didn't want to choose it. So I said also, I am loving the Heather and Cheryl like moments together.
Yeah.
And diving into more of like the witchcraft like side of things.
Mhm.
And I loved when Cheryl went invisible because like I love that
She was like,
shit.
"Oh."
Like she was like, And then like Percival just like walks right by her and like kind of almost looks at her, but like he doesn't see that she's there.
See her. Yeah,
I love that moment. It was really cool.
Very Harry Potter. My best moment is when Tony punches Kevin, because like who doesn't need that?
Because like why not? Kevin, like of course.
Like that is the moment of moments.
WTF moment.
WTF moment. I'm gonna say definitely Betty's special serial killer event caught me off guard a little bit. She's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna host a conference.
Yeah,
got it.
Cool. What a great idea.
And then also like the weird looks that Heather was giving when they were holding that book. I was like, what? Like, what is this gonna mean? You know?
For sure. That's gonna mean something for sure.
Yeah.
My WTF moment is gonna be that last shot of Riverdale switching to Rivervale and like having the back like flip back and forth. Because I always like when the show like does something a little bit different, because we know that there's a bit of like a template, but like when they do something different, I'm like, oh, you're trying to do something different today.
You're gonna do that? Okay.
Putting on a weight today. Okay. So I was excited about that.
MVP
is gonna go to Veronica for helping out a third tier character because you know she saved his life. And like shout out to Veronica, and also for Percival for telling Kevin he's not the baby's father. Because the reaction that Kevin, like Kevin's face, I was like, oh my god, this is more hurtful than 3 punches from Tony or 2 punches from Tony.
100%,
so like
100%.
yeah.
I just feel like, what was his motivation for telling Kevin that that he would just drop the baby thing? Like why would he just like, what is he just trying to break his spirit more?
That's a very good question. And it's either to push him further down, like it was either to like hurt him more and like push him down that road, or to what we were saying, like maybe it is that moment where like Kevin's like, what the hell, like what am I doing this for?
Like what am I doing this for if it's not for baby Anthony?
Maybe it's gonna like have a twist on Percival.
And he doesn't even like, that's the thing, Percival didn't even like follow up with like, even though you're not the father, we will find a way to get the baby back. Like he was just like, the baby is the future and you're not the father, so goodbye. You know, I was like, okay. It was kind of like a abrupt ending to that.
And like, how does he know he's not the dad's father? Like,
I mean, I guess he like read the baby's mind.
True. How the baby?
Who's the baby?
Who's my daddy?
Who's my daddy? My daddy is the MVP to me was Tony. Obviously, I had to give it to her because she boxed him in the face. That's what I wanted to see.
LVP.
Who's your LVP?
Oh my god, there were so many. LVP, I'm gonna give it to Fangs. Gonna give it to Kevin. Gonna give it to Reggie because like homie like literally went into the ground to get Jughead's beanie and come back and give it to Percival. I was like, Reggie,
embarrassing.
You're doing too much right now.
Like you're a loser. My LVP is going to Alice because I was thinking about it. I saw yours and I was like, who else is out there? Alice is definitely my LVP this episode because she was trying to kill her son and she is just too much all over the place, but I still feel like she's worth giving the LVP because I still care about her and I want her to do better. Like just do better.
I don't know, like how do you come back from that?
I don't know, I really don't know, but I know characters like Frank, I couldn't even make him an LVP because he's like done for me. But with Alice, I was like, you're the LVP because you're a loser, but like maybe you'll be better later. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The best line.
Who's your best line, or what was your best line?
Best line, I'm gonna give it to Betty when she says to her mom, there has been enough murder in this house. And literally I looked at my screen and I was like, true. Like I thought about it and I was like, oh my god, yeah, true. Like it's enough. Like stop bringing, like they need to like demolish that house first of all and just like build a new house, because like
it's literally a murder house right now. It's like AHS season 1.
Yeah,
this is how it all begins, like from there. Mine is also from Betty, and it's when Charles and her are talking at the end. She says, I did it for mom and because I'm not ready to give up. And he says like, on me? And she's like, on me. She's like, I can't change the past, but maybe I should stop fixating on it and focus on what I'm doing in the present and in my future. And I was like, thank goodness. Can we stop talking? Line. Yeah. Let's stop talking about the serial killer gene.
I followed up your quote with literally, this is the line for the writers to move on with the storyline of the serial killer
let's
gene.
Keep going. Yeah.
Like, stop focusing on the past. Change the future.
Yeah. Let's not do that ever again. Thank you very much.
We had a couple of roundups, I think, just because probably people haven't watched the episode yet.
True.
So I think we have two, maybe a couple from Instagram. You want to take the first one?
Yeah. Shoni5 on it says, MVP, me for sticking with this show. Okay, let's do this. LVP, the writers for honestly breaking up Shoni for literally no reason, for ruining Tony's character and making her look so OOC, out of character. Thank you for that acronym definition. Like, this is not the Tony we fell in love with or grew to know. This is some imposter and loser who allows that greasy man to walk all over her. Like, who is this woman? Tony isn't even part of the main plot. She's got no powers and is just there. I do wonder why she doesn't have powers, because like she has been the badass of all
That's true. She has no powers, but like maybe her power is to like box Kevin out.
Yeah, maybe it was to break down our door and beat his ass. The writers writing in Vanessa's pregnancy has honestly been dreadful and lazy. Her storyline is boring and I'm over it. Nobody cares. F Kevin and Fangs too, and Heather just going in. Just popped off on everybody.
Shoni had some haterade.
Shoni5 on it, not
this
happy.
week.
Worst moment, the whole custody storyline, Tony shouting at Fangs to only go and punch Kevin. Like, what? The fact that Tony isn't part of the main story is really irking me. The fact that Shoni don't even talk is really irking me. No MVP, no best line, no best line.
She's like, I did not come for this roundup. This is it. You know what? I will agree with that a little bit. I guess like Tony really, she does help out a little bit, but like, yeah, like for the most part, she is stuck in this like custody storyline, and like it is getting old. Like I will agree with that. Like,
for sure.
Let's move on. Like,
I exactly, and I do feel like she was killing in the beginning of the season, and now she's still stuck in this like limbo over and over and over again. It's the same thing over and over again, and I just want her to be like the boss ass bitch.
Like, Taken, Kevin is such a bad character that he makes other characters bad. Like, we love Tony without Kevin. We love Tony.
Moose without Kevin.
And the minute Kevin got intercepted with Tony, he ruined her like storyline. Like, and he's like Fangs, nuclear. He's like radioactive. Like, you can't even go near Kevin's character.
Keep him away from everybody. He's the real Black Widow of this story.
Yeah. At Sierra N says, the best moment, the ending. I'm loving that we're finally getting somewhere with the Riverdale plot. But also Tony beating Kevin's ass. It was so satisfying.
So satisfying.
WTF moment. Percival deciding that he has to kill baby Anthony. Because he wants to be the only future for Riverdale. So he wants to kill baby Anthony.
That's what I implied from it too. But then I was like, why is Kevin still just like sitting there smiling? Like, he wasn't smiling, but he was like, oh, he wants to kill the baby. Okay.
And I wonder if that's going to connect to like where Tony's storyline was in Riverdale. Like, maybe they have to hide baby Anthony somewhere, like in between, like in the portals or something, to hide him
or
from
maybe Kevin
Percival.
Is now going to be the one to be like, I will take care of the baby, but like no one trusts you.
Yeah, no one trusts you. You can't even take care of yourself. Like, you can't even afford your own like apartment.
Go pay rent and like fucking be independent, you fucking loser.
Her WTF moment was, we got that one. MVP, Veronica, Tabitha, and Archie. Veronica fully saved lives this episode, and I love what they are doing with her. Seeing her with Betty again is wonderful to see. Tabitha and Archie as the duo saving Riverdale is amazing. I love their dynamic. 100% agreed.
Yeah.
LVP, Kevin, Fangs, Frank, and Alice. Everybody. Kevin and Fangs are the only thing I dislike about this season. They just bore me at this point. Frank and Alice being under Percival's spell is annoying now. Frank is now boring again, and Alice, has lost all her entertaining qualities that she used to have.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Best line. Sad. I'd like to stay a little longer. I know we should trust Heather, because don't trust new Riverdale characters, etc., but I'm loving Heather's vibe and her chemistry with Cheryl. It's refreshing no matter how much I miss Shoni. See,
thank you.
I love when people who are like shippers, like Shoni shippers or whatever, they miss that ship, but they can also recognize that this is also working. Like Heather and Cheryl, they do have a chemistry together, and like it is fun to see and see what's gonna happen with that. So and I do love that.
I do like the fact that they make a point to say like their chemistry and their vibe is like her vibe is good. Yeah. And I like the way that the show is not making her like already look evil and sketchy. Like even in this episode, you and I are talking about it as if like we're not really sure where her head's at. We're not really sure what her motives are. We don't even really know if she's has evil motives. There wasn't like evil music behind her.
No, like, it's very like subtle, if that even.
Everything's
like,
very, very subtle. So I do like that a lot because it makes you feel like there could be a possibility of something new and different for a little bit longer instead of being like, oh, Cheryl's in trouble. I guess Shoni's just around the corner. Like everybody's just waiting for that to happen. And like this just gives us some breathing time with a new character and a new plot point. So I'm into it.
That's why I didn't want them to kiss this episode. I don't want that to be the only thing that like characters can like get to right away. Like let it be a slow burn. Like let them like build up to that. Because then it's like more worth it. So
really good point.
We also have one from Instagram from Ulae. Okay. Ulaae. They say their MVP is Veronica. She literally is she literally the cure for cancer? Question mark. LVP, Frank needs to be punched.
I know. I need to kill him. Someone needs to like beat them all.
I need to kill him.
I need to kill him right now. Thank you. Thank you all for your roundups. Again, whenever we do our podcast, we try to get as many as we can. So please send them our way as soon as you can.
It's
on Twitter.
It's sort of like bittersweet because like we want to record right away so that you guys have an episode right away. But then we don't get a lot of roundups because you guys haven't been able to watch the episode right away. So it's like kind of like two-sided coin.
Exactly.
Yeah, you either get the podcast right away or you get a podcast late with a bunch of roundups. So but don't forget, guys, always comment under the video or like send us on Instagram, like send us your roundups, and we usually post it like the next day, like on our socials.
We post it or we talk about it the following episode. Like we're here for y'all and all of the input that you have. So with that, I would like to take this time to thank our patrons of the episode, our Rewinder squad. We have White, Nicole, and Cliff, our Lit Rewinders, Tina, Ann, Slay, and Kate, and our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamala, and Grace.
Thank you, guys. If you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind.
And also make sure you're checking us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. And also you can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Anything that you listen to podcasts on. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.